Lisa and I welcome Sierra Sil to our podcast. Got a grumpy old man in your life? Change that. Okay, not that way. Sierra Sil Natural Mineral Joint Pain Relief with a money-back guarantee at Shoppers, London Drugs, and the best health food stores.
Head over to SierraSil.com, SIERRASIL.com. Use your code GF and get 10% off your purchase.
Well, hi there and welcome to episode 46 of Gracefully and Frankly. She's Lisa Brandt.
And she's Erin Davis, and we have some listener mail today to our gracefullyfrankly@gmail.com email address, and one is a dilemma. Well, they're both dilemmas, but one's got a bit of a laugh to it, and the other one's not funny at all, and we hope we can shed some light on both of them.
Anybody who has ever thought about separate bedrooms with your significant other, you're gonna want to catch this because somebody needed some advice from Lisa, and she gave it. And maybe you'll have some too, and just want to send it along our way. Okay, we're also going to talk about the ability to hold two thoughts at the same time. I know it's not radical to you, but it is to some others as we get closer to Remembrance Day and, of course, Christmas. So we'll share that with you.
And observations from a trade show about trades where about 6,500 high school students came in waves, and I got a chance to talk to some of them. And it's not often, Erin, that I'm around that many high school students. Well, actually, not at all since the restraining order. So I found that it was a very valuable time to be in the Agriplex at Western Fair in London.
Awesome. Can't wait to hear about it. Did it smell like animals when you were in there? And I don't mean the teenagers.
No, they cleaned it out really well. You'd never know there were animals in there.
Okay, because I remember sometimes down at the Toronto exhibition in that area, you could tell there'd been animals there. Okay, just wondering. And before we get rolling into this, and you can tell it's going to be a fun one, we want to thank Kim and Kathy at NV Pillow, ENVYpillow.com.
I stumbled across this study that showed that the number one thing people say they want for a good night's sleep is an excellent mattress. Number two is an amazing pillow, and you can't get more amazing than Envy.
The quality of the pillow, the comfort of the pillow, the luxury, and the green mentality that has gone into making this pillow with an actual V in it to protect your face from smooshing and from all of the kind of icky things that can be in a pillow. It has copper infusion, and it is so good at clearing all of that out. Go to NV Pillow, ENVYpillow.com, and remember 10% off using the code GF. It's so cool that we get emails from people who are listeners, and we so appreciate you and your feedback on our Facebook page at Gracefully and Frankly on Facebook. And of course, at our email address too, Lisa.
gracefullyfrankly@gmail.com. And yeah, we get wonderful, funny, heartfelt, all sorts of different emails. And we got one from Pauline, and it was sort of directed at me, but it was for both of us and now for the world. Okay?
Okay.
Some time ago, in an earlier episode, I talked about Derek and I sleeping in separate bedrooms while I was trying to get used to the CPAP machine. And Pauline wants to know, because her husband has one, a CPAP. He takes out his hearing aids so he can't hear when it gets loud. And she's wondering how she can approach her husband to sleep in the separate bedrooms, but they both want the main bedroom with the ensuite. So what to do? So naturally, I asked Derek, and I said to my husband, what do you think? And he said to move a beer fridge and anything else he finds important up to the guest room, and he'll just gravitate. But it is a tough one, right? Because it is a health matter. I mean, he's doing something for his health. Now she can't sleep.
Right. Okay.
So my advice was, I thought about it for a good while, and I thought, why don't you trade? You know, sometimes when parents share custody of kids, they move houses, the kids stay put. So why don't you do 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off? And that way you both are saying, I value you and what it is you need to do, but I want this bedroom with the convenient, beautiful ensuite as well. And that was the only thing I could come up with, was trading back and forth. Yeah, he'd have to cart his CPAP around. Big deal. It plugs in and out. It's not a big deal. That was all I could think of. Pauline, when I wrote back and she wrote again and thought Derek's idea was great. She could move her husband's guitar into the spare room, but the piano wouldn't fit. So there you go. What do you think?
I think that's a great suggestion. Yours is like the wisdom of Solomon, right? That makes a whole lot of sense. Now, obviously, in the primary bedroom, there is the nearby bathroom. It's all, I think, all about the ensuite bathroom, right? So maybe the other bedroom needs the perfect mattress. Maybe she could lure him with the perfect mattress or an envy pillow, just throwing that in there. Here, have your own pillow, darling. I love you that much. But maybe it's making that bedroom even comfier. And if she sleeps without covers, because so many of us at a certain age do, although I am the exception, I'm layered like I'm hiding. But, maybe he doesn't like that his wife doesn't like all the covers. And so he gets the bedding he wants, maybe of a more masculine shade, if there is such a thing. Or maybe it's got Toronto Maple Leaf logos on it or something.
This is all about moving him out, though, right? And her keeping the bedroom. See, this is the funny thing. I think I'm doing marriage wrong, because when I thought I would move out for an indeterminate amount of time, I just said, I'm going to go sleep in the spare bedroom. You be happy here, and I'm going to see if I can get used to this thing. I never thought about getting him out. What am I doing wrong, Erin? Should have been the other way around.
You selfless thing. Your bed is wherever Cuddles is.
That's true.
Let's be honest about that. Wherever the cat is, that's your home. Now, I got an email the other day too. Mine are mostly about grief or addiction. And I never ever mind that. And these are emails that I flag and I say, okay, I can't answer this in one line. So I'm going to take some time and really delve into this and connect with the person, because the last thing they need is another Hallmark card. And this woman lost her husband a few months ago, and last week was his first birthday not with her, and she didn't know what to do or how to handle it. And then she mentioned Christmas. Now, as far as birthdays, I said, you do whatever you want to do. This has been a day that's always been filled with joy for you. And of course, he's not there. If you feel like a cupcake for him, or you feel like staying in bed, you do what you want to do, because so often we feel compelled to do what other people think. Oh, I'm going to take you out for lunch today. I'm going to make you feel better.
Yeah.
No, this isn't what I need. I need to stay in bed today. So my advice to her was just to be gentle to herself.
Yeah.
But then she mentioned that Christmas was coming, and I went, oh God, yeah, Christmas. And I have to tell you, we are, how many years now? 2015. So 8 years without Lauren. And this year we're going to try harder because of the kids and the grandkids. Last year, it was perceived that we were sitting there kind of morosely on Christmas morning, although Rob and I didn't feel that or think that. And there's only so much. I'm better at putting on a face because I had to for all those years. Rob, you can pretty much read. And we're trying harder. We honestly just want to get through Christmas. We're going to go away January 4th, and that's going to be our thing. But we're getting LED lights installed outside the house to turn the house into a little bit more of a bright, magical thing for when the kids pull up and it's dark, which is now 4:30.
Yeah, right.
Christmas is hard. And all of the music and all of the stores, it just makes me want to put a candle down and walk out. I don't want to do it, but I'm getting better. It's just so hard for so many people. And I think that everyone, and this is not directed at family or anyone in my circle, because they know, God, they know, but just please know that there are people who need you to reach out and say, what do you need? And not, how can I cheer you up? Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense, because an emotion like grief is never going to go away. And it's never going to be something somebody is over when you've suffered such a loss. So it ebbs and it flows and it grows, and you can be laughing like a ninny one day over something, and the next day you're a ball of emotion. And I think the only kind thing to do is to ask somebody what it is they need. I've always remembered, I think it was the first Thanksgiving after Lauren died. And you were texting me how there was just like almost a vacuum that no one was saying her name.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And everybody else may be getting the cranberries out and doing turkey and everything, but we're talking about your core family. And, what do you need? Do you want to talk? Do you want some sort of a distraction? I just think it's the only kind thing to do for somebody. And we need to be more sensitive to the fact that time may, if it even lessens, may do something to grief. But that loss is always that loss. My mother, for goodness sake, I'm not going to compare grief because we don't do that.
Right.
But my mom, she and I had kind of a strained relationship for most of my life and all that kind of stuff. But I spent the last couple of years of her life with her very closely. I still get just clobbered over the head with grief sometimes. And, moms are supposed to die eventually. None of it makes perfect sense. It's not linear. It's not predictable. And you're right. Christmas is so, so hard because you're looking around at that table every year and seeing everybody you love. But it is such a high emotion time. There's almost so much pressure on it for it to be perfect too, right?
Yeah. We're all just doing the best we can every day and in every way. We are all, no matter what we're carrying on our backs, we're all just doing the best we can. And I have to tell you, last year, our daughter-in-law, Brooke, came over when Rob and I were away in November. And she brought the Christmas tree out of the basement and set it up. And she decorated the tree for us. And I just thought that was the most loving and kind thing. And Brooke, if you're listening, I'm going to be gone from the 15th to the 17th of this month. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. But it was really nice. It was like, look, I know that this is hard for you. So she and Phil did this for us. And it was just like, this helps so much. So when you can do something like that, and it doesn't feel like the bunch of friends and peanuts have just thrown everything on the tree and suddenly it's decorated for Charlie Brown, it was a loving and lovely thing to do. And so I remember that at the holidays too. And so it helps us. It helps us to move on as we try and do the best we can, right? In everything.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And the kids, they're the light right now. They're the hope for the future and the reason you want to make it special. So thank goodness for them. Thank goodness for Colin and Jane.
Absolutely. We thought about going away for Christmas. We talked about it after last year, and then we thought, no, this is about the kids. And we'll have as best a time as we possibly can. So that text that you mentioned that I sent you on that Thanksgiving weekend, it coincided with Colin's birthday, which is also that weekend. And so I ended up writing a poem that ended up in my book, Morning Has Broken, called Say Her Name. And of course, you know a thing or two about writing books. Can I tell anybody that you're writing a fiction book and now it's becoming a series? I'm as excited for you as I am for Dottie's puppies. You're doing it.
Well, it's funny. Something I've always wanted to do. And I sat down and it's probably taken me 3 years to get the first one done. I think it went through 8 drafts. And so after I wrote it, I've worked with this editor before. When I've done my ebooks, I've always hired a professional editor because I do not know everything. And
we've read books by people who didn't hire a professional editor. And we went, why? Why didn't you?
That's right. And I don't want to be one of those people. I mean, if I'm going to bother putting it out, let's make it the best it can be. So anyway, I sent it to her and hired her, paid her to read it. And I said, is this garbage? Is this good? Be honest, because it's taken a lot of my time. And she gave me chapter by chapter feedback that changed some things. I brought one person back to life. I gave somebody a couple of limbs back.
What is this, Monty Python?
I got rid of a whole sequence that she said was just ridiculous. And she's right. And I've had a few beta readers read it. And the feedback that's come from the 8th draft is, this needs to be a series. We want to know what happens to these people. So that's what I'm going to do. And I don't know if I'll self-publish it. I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, it's hard to get a publisher. It's not something that's simple to do. So we'll see. But oh my goodness, Erin, it's like flying. When it's going well, I feel like I'm flying. So thank you for bringing it up. And I'm excited to do something with it eventually.
Yeah. The other day you wrote to me, I wrote to you. I got writer's block. What's my journal going to be on Monday? And you said, I've just finished 6,000 words. And I was so happy for you.
Well, some of it I have to go rewrite because I sat back and thought, I got to redo this. But that's the fun part about it is it's creating. And I have to tell you, one of my inspirations for this is my friend Carolyn Arnold, who is a crime fiction writer. And this is how she makes her living in a small town Canada, because she sells books all over the world. And I just find her inspiring. She'll think of something and just do it. She's got that confidence. And that's what I'm trying to manifest. So we'll see what happens.
We are so in your corner. You mentioned beta readers. What's that?
Those are people who read an early draft and tell you whether it's working or not, or whether they like it. I mean, you can find people all over the place who will do this. I waited until I had like draft number 8 done because especially after the feedback from the editor early on, I thought I got a lot of work to do. So it was about a year and a half before I look for anybody to read it for me. So, yeah.
Okay, well, let me ask you an awkward question. Why haven't I read it yet?
Mostly because you're super busy and I'm nervous about it and I don't want to put that burden on you. This is the thing, is that I'm not ready yet to put that burden on you. Let's put it that way, because what if you hate it? And I'm going to need you to be honest. I'm going to need you to say, oh my goodness, I really don't like this. And here's why.
That might hurt our friendship. Do you think it might?
Well, it might.
So I would never.
I don't know.
I think you'll never get honesty out of me. If it's negative, you'll never hear it. So really, honestly, maybe.
Well, that's one of the reasons I haven't given it to you, because I need criticism at this point. Yeah. I need somebody to say, okay, that didn't work. And here's why I think that. That's the only thing that's going to help make it better right now.
Right.
So, that's why.
Yeah. It's why you wouldn't give it to your mom. You know, because she's going to go, if you have a good relationship with your mother or some other person in your life, they would go, oh, well, this is wonderful, Lisa. I think this is the best book ever written. Move over, whoever.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I respect that.
That doesn't help the person who's looking to improve. So,
okay.
And plus it is a burden to put on somebody. It's like, you're saying, read this and do it soon. It's a lot of pressure.
We get asked to do that by people, and I haven't found a way to say no yet, because in my mind, it's still like, okay, I'm giving back. I had a big break with a publisher and all of that stuff. So I feel this sense of giving back when people say, would you read this book? But you're right. It is a burden, and I will probably never be honest. So unless... Isn't that awful?
No, it's not awful. Do you know, I gave my brother Trade Up. Now, my brother is my cheerleader, not literally. Oh, my goodness, no. But he is very supportive. He's terrific in that way. And I gave him Trade Up, the book I wrote with John Finan about getting into the trades.
Yeah.
And I said, what'd you think of it? And he said, oh, I read the first chapter and I loved it, but I put it down, so I probably won't read it again. I'm like, you read the first chapter and you loved it. And he goes, yeah, but I put it down and got into something else and I don't think I'm going to read it. I'm like,
Well, he's not exactly your target audience. You were in an agriculture center full of your target audience last week. Thousands and thousands of students. How did that all go? Were you selling books or what was happening with Trade Up?
Well, here's the thing. This was put on by the Ontario government. It's called Level Up, and it's being held in all sorts of cities everywhere, Sudbury, Hamilton, everywhere. So the kids can come in and they can weld something at one place, and they can plant a plant if they are interested in landscape architecture, and they can do all this hands-on stuff. Oh, and there's government services and stuff. And there's me trying to sell them a book. So it was an important place to be, to talk to. I talked to so many guidance counselors, had great conversations. People who serve on school boards, I had wonderful conversations with, and I've heard from one guy actually who's loving the book and thinks it's a great resource. So that was more of what I was there to do. It was fun to meet all these high school students. So I turned to one of the guys just before the doors opened at a booth next to me. And I said, remember, they're more scared of you than you are of them. And he said, are you sure? I said, I'm not sure. I really don't know. But they come in swarms,
Yeah.
It was exciting because they're enthusiastic about what they're going to do and full of questions. And I had candy. I had a bowl of candy, which was your idea. I put a bowl of candy out, and that got so many people to stop and talk to me while they had candy. So that was great.
Good. You should have made it an everlasting gobstopper so they'd have to stay until it was gone.
It was an everlasting bowl. I kept filling it up and filling it up and filling it up. So
Fantastic. Overall, attitude-wise, you said the kids were great?
Yeah, some of the parents were a little snarky, but there weren't too many of them. It was kind of funny. Kids were, by and large, great, respectful, funny in some cases, and just really interested in everything. They just wanted to take it all in. They pulled a London Transit bus into the Agriplex at Western Fair District, and so they got to sit in a bus and feel what that was like. And
Oh, wow.
it was a pretty big deal. Yeah, it was kind of cool.
How were parents snarky? What, like how?
Probably they had not a lot of time to spend, and you start your little pitch or whatever to explain why you're there and be like, I don't need that, and walk away. And I think that's probably just trade show stuff, where the kids were more interested in taking it all in. The guidance counselors wanted to talk about different ways to explain trades to the kids, to get them interested, make sure they're aware of it all. But the parents were more like, okay, I'm chaperoning or whatever, and I'm just not interested in that. But I got that from a few, and one kid, his father, said, well, I don't need that, blah, blah, blah. And he went on this kind of rant, waved his hand at me, and his kid just gave me a shrug and rolled his eyes. I thought, oh, you got to live with him. I only have to talk to him for 2 seconds.
Don't you wish there was a trade show for critical thinking and the ability to see things in more than black and white, which I think is really weighing heavily these days with world news and everything going on. We want to divide people into the good guys and the bad guys, and it's all so much for everyone, I think.
It really is. And there are people who have genuine life and death stakes in some of these things. And that's why I don't talk about it, because I don't. And I'm so afraid of making a mistake, saying something that will hurt somebody. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, 100%.
There are some topics I'm just afraid to say anything about because I just feel like I don't know enough. And it's just a dicey time. And the time of year. We've got Halloween just over, Remembrance Day coming up, Christmas coming up.
Yeah, that's true too. There are people who take such great offense, and this is such a tiny thing when you compare it to what's going on in the Middle East. Pakistan getting rid of so many refugees who are going to have to go back. All these girls are going to lose their schooling, and there's just, it is all so much. So to even take in the anger that some people feel about Christmas decorations being up before November 11th. Now, this is something that a lot of people who want to perceive that there's a great injustice to our veterans or the place we hold in our hearts will stand on the rooftops and scream about or send you that video, that music video of a guy who's singing a pittance in time and wants to punch somebody out in the Shoppers Drug Mart because they didn't stop down at 11 a.m. on the 11th of November. But we are able to hold Christmas in our hearts for those who want to put up a wreath before November 11th. I believe this. Yeah. And to still remember the immense sacrifice of the people who gave us this freedom that we so take for granted.
Our friend Eddie Rhodes is a late World War II veteran. He died a couple of years ago. Wonderful man. And I asked him what he thought about that, about putting up Christmas decorations before November 11th. And he said, Lisa, we got on boats and we went to countries we didn't know anything about, and we fought and risked and lost our lives so that people could have the freedom to do what they want. Put up a tree on November 6th. Put up a wreath on November 8th. This is why we fought, so you could have that freedom. He said, I see poppies everywhere. I don't feel disrespected. Now, that's one opinion. I don't know how many share that opinion, but that's always stuck with me. It's like, that's what freedom is about. And judging other people, oh my goodness. But could we just stop?
No, it isn't. But it flies in the face of those who would love to say that there's a war on Christmas, which there's never been. It's only been manufactured rage so that people could feel like victims. So you're saying there's a war on Christmas, but if we want to put a wreath up, that's wrong too. Okay, there is no black and white. We go back to that. There's just no black and white. And don't feel bad if you're like us and you can't see things in black and white.
And see them in shades of gray. Like Brittle Star had a great video out not long ago, Stuart Reynolds, about how social media is not for nuance. And there's no room for anything but on one side or another on social media. So don't get the idea social media is life, either a reflection of life. It's just largely a cesspool. I try so hard, and I know you do too, to not put something cesspoolian on it, but there's an awful lot of that going on. It'd be easy to get caught up in it.
I think the word we're looking for is cesspudlian, like people from Liverpool.
Okay.
We're inventing new words again.
Let's put a TM on that so no one steals it.
Hey, let's remind people how to reach out to us because we do so appreciate your input on this show. We're so proud to have over 60,000 downloads, and we just started this in what, January, Lisa, was it?
I can't remember. I
guess if we did the math. 45 weeks ago.
That's right.
So there, something like that, or 46 weeks ago. So yeah, we're closing in on a year of this. We haven't even decided what we're going to do over the holidays. Probably just pop into the studio and still do these podcasts because we value this connection with you so much. And so again, our email is gracefully@gmail.com. And we're on Facebook, too.
Love the Facebook page. I love the interaction on it. It's Gracefully and Frankly on Facebook. And we were called Rising Stars last week for our engagement. And that's due to the people who come and leave comments on the stuff that's on the page or even post things. So, yeah, very grateful for that. It's a fun place to play. And it's not like your usual social media. It's a fun page.
It is. And who gets to be called a rising star at our age besides, I don't know, the cast of Golden Girls? So that's fantastic. Well, you have a lovely weekend. Remembrance Day, of course, is this Saturday, and we will be back with you next week with a brand new episode. And thanks again to Envy Pillow, spelled ENVY. There's another pillow that sounds like it, but is nothing like Envy Pillow because it's one of a kind. Go to envypillow.com. And thanks to them, to Kim and Kathy.
That other pillow is jealous of Envy Pillow. Let's put it that way, huh?
Nah, perfect. Yeah. I'm Erin Davis.
I'm Lisa Brandt.
Bye for now.